It was night time in the village. People were hurrying to their houses because it was cold outside, and since night is approaching, the danger of wild animals is increasing. Person 1. Do you know that today the girl from the house of leaves was sent to Ice God as offering, and again Ice God didn't accept the sacrifice? Person 2. What? But if this keeps on going, then this year winter will be worse. All our crops will be destroyed. Person 1. I know. But what we can do when Ice God is not accepting our offering? Person 3. Now we don't know what will happen in this winter. This is a beautiful village where people lived happily. This village was blessed with the fortunes of God, but as the humans starts growing more greedy, gods turn their back to them. Every year there is heavy snow in this village, which results in crop failure. Village people believe that Ice God is angry at them, and that's why they are suffering. So the ancestors of this village started praying to Ice God. They decided to send one person to God as offering so that God will have mercy on them. They believed that if God accepts the offering, then that human never returns, but if don't, that person comes back. But from past few years, they are sending offering to the temple of Ice God, but none of their offering is accepted by Ice God, and also from past few years, their crop is a failure. In the palace of Ice God, a handsome man is sitting on the throne. His features were mesmerizing. His ministers are standing and giving him updates. Minister Kim, Ice God, villagers again send you offering. Ice God Jungkook, I already told you to return it. I don't want anything from those greedy humans. Minister Kim, we had done the same. Jungkook, good. Anything else? Minister Kim, no, Ice God. Then Jungkook got up from his throne and left the throne room. Everyone bowed to him. Jeon Jungkook, Ice God. His forefathers and ancestors were Ice God too, and now he had taken over the position. His personality is same as Ice, cold. He thinks all humans are greedy. Jungkook came outside his palace as he wanted to take a look around the area. Guards tried to follow him, but he stopped them. He was looking at the eyes far stretched on the landscape. A small house in the village where lives the family of the farmer. Mr. Kang, I don't know what will happen this year. This year again, Ice God returned our offering. Mrs. Kang, it's a very big concern. Mr. Kang, if this year crop fails again, we will have nothing to eat. Mrs. Kang think something and then spoke. You should check your father's old belongings. He was one of the person who first pursued the Ice God to have mercy on us. He might have left something that we can solve this problem. Mr. Kang, well, I don't think he did something like this, but what's the problem in checking? Then Mr. and Mrs. Kang started checking the old things left by Mr. Kang's father. Suddenly, Mrs. Kang's eyes fell on an old scroll. She picked up the scroll. Both Mr. and Mrs. Kang looked at each other and then opened the scroll. Crops were failure for many years as of now. The reason is the weather is too cold. If crop fails this year again, we will starve. To prevent this, we all decide to pray to Ice God to show mercy on us. The God was kind enough and showed us mercy, but slowly the people of village start becoming greedy, so Ice God become angry at us. This results in failure of crops again. We tried to ask for forgiveness, but Ice God was too much angry. Then a Taoist priest gave us enchant. If we chant this, Ice God must had to appear in front of us. We did it, and Ice God did appeared. We again asked for mercy, and he forgave us. I am leaving this chant with my future generations, so that if Ice God were got angry at us, they can use it to protect the whole village. After reading this, Mr. and Mrs. Kang's eyes curved in happy ones. Mr. Kang, now we will be saved. I am going to tell everyone. Mrs. Kang stopped him and spoke. Are you idiot? If we tell everyone, then everyone will know about this. Mr. Kang, then Mrs. Kang, we will call Ice God and ask for his mercy, and when everyone's crop will fail because of cold, only our crop will prosperous. Then we can sell it at high cost. Mr. Kang, excellent idea, but only unmarried person can perform this. Mrs. Kang, it's okay. We will send our daughter Jia. She is beautiful. If Ice God take a liking for her, then we will be prosperous always. Mr. Kang, great idea. Mr. and Mrs. Kang, a greedy couple, only cares for money. Farmers had a daughter Jia. Suddenly, Mr. and Mrs. Kang heard the sound of glass breaking. They ran to kitchen to get welcomed by a glass plate on the floor in pieces and a scared girl standing there. Mrs. Kang, you stupid girl, you broke such an expensive plate. Do you think money grows on tree? You, and I am sorry. It happened by mistake. I don't mean to, but before you can complete, Mrs. Kang grabbed her hairs tightly. She yelped in pain. Jia, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Kang, who broke the plate, kept on her smirking to herself. You didn't spoke anything because you know that your aunt will never believe you over her daughter. Y/an orphan lives with aunt and uncle. Her parents died when she was 5. From then she is living with them. Mr. and Mrs. Kang scold her for every small thing and taunts her very much. Sweet, kind and helpful girl. Mrs. Kang, now stop with your crocodile tears and clean this place, and no food for you today. You, but Aunt, Mrs. Kang cut her in between. You dare to argue me? She spoke angrily, sending shivers down in your spine. You quickly started cleaning when a glass piece pierced your skin. You yelped in pain. Jia and Mrs. Kang left. Mrs. Kang, Jia, I wanted to tell you something. Jia, yeah, I am listening. What is it, Mom? Jia spoke while not paying much attention to her mom. Mrs. Kang, it's important. If you did everything correctly, you might even become the bride of Ice God. As soon as Jia heard the Ice God, her attention shifted to her mom. She had heard how handsome Ice God is, so she became excited and listening her mom's word. Jia, how is it possible, Mom? How can I become the bride of Ice God? Mrs. Kang, me and your dad found your grandfather's old scroll and then she narrated her everything. Jia became excited and quickly said yes to her mother. Jia, don't worry, Mom. I am ready to do the ritual. Mrs. Kang, that's my daughter. Then go. Tomorrow you will go and do the ritual. Jia, okay, Mom. Then, after eating, everyone went to their own rooms except you, as you had to sleep in the kitchen itself. Jia kept on dreaming about her and Ice God and slept. Time skipped next day. In the early morning, Jia left the house. Mrs. Kang asked her to leave early so the others will not find out about it. Mrs. Kang gave her a new white fur coat to keep her warm and warm shoes and gloves. Then Jia left. After reaching to an empty place, as her mother instructed her, she started the praying to Ice God. Jungkook POV. I was taking a walk in the ice garden of my palace when suddenly I heard a chant calling me. Jungkook thought, isn't this the same chant to which all Ice God had to respond, and went to the person who is chanting it. Aish, now I have to go to those greedy humans. Jungkook disappeared into the icy cold winds. After a few minutes, Jungkook appeared in front of Jia. Jia looked at him with drooling eyes as he was handsome. Jungkook, why you called me? He asked frustratedly. Jia, are you Ice God? Jungkook, yes, I am. He spoke coldly. Jia, I am here to become your bride. Jungkook scoffed. What? Why do you think of yourself? You aren't worthy enough. Jungkook was going to return, but Jia stopped him. Jia, how can you? I am worthy or not without knowing me. Jungkook, fine. I will give you a task. If you completed it, then I will consider about taking you as my bride. Jia, sure, spoke overconfidently. Jungkook, you had to make 300 fur coats before the sun sets. If you completed the task, I will accept you as my bride. Jia, what? 300? It's impossible. Jungkook, but you have to. Jia, no, I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to be your bride. Jungkook, but you had seen me, so I had to take your life. Jia got scared. No, no, don't do that, please. Jungkook, then give me someone else's life. Jia, oh, okay, I will Don't kill me. Jungkook, okay, remember to send that person here tomorrow morning or I will take your life. Jia nodded her head many times and left hurriedly. Once Jia left, Jungkook scoffed and spoke. Jungkook, greedy humans. Jia came to her house and went inside. Mrs. Kang saw her and came to her. Mrs. Kang, my daughter came so early. Now tell me, how did it went? Did he accepted you? And where are all the gifts and money? Mrs. Kang spoke, but Jia kept looking downwards. Mrs. Kang frowned and spoke. Mrs. Kang, what happened? Jia, Mom, that ice god wanted to take my life. Mrs. Kang, what? Then Jia narrated the whole incident. Jia, Mom, now where we will find someone to replace me? Mrs. Kang, don't panic. Let me think. Then Mrs. Kang's eyes fell on you, who is also listening to everything. You felt bad for Jia. Mrs. Kang thought, this girl Y/N is completely useless and a burden on this house. I should replace her with Jia. Also, if she is gone, then also our expense on food will decrease. Yay, it's good. Then Mrs. Kang called you. Mrs. Kang, Y/N, come here. You. Yes, aunt. Mrs. Kang, you will go there tomorrow in Jia's place. Y/N, Aunt I. Mrs. Kang, what I, huh? Can't you sacrifice just a little for your family? We had taken care of you so much in these years. Y/N, yes, Aunt. Jia smirked and also Mrs. Kang, as they will get rid of you now. Time skip next day. Jungkook POV. I am sitting on my throne and solving some issues related to winters in different parts of Earth. Like some people are complaining about too cold and other complained about very less cold, and I was so frustrated when suddenly I heard the same chant that I heard yesterday. But this time voice was pretty calm and soothing to my ears. I wasn't able to control myself and went to that place. Your POV. In the early morning, Aunt sent me to Ice God in the place of Jia. She gave me a fur coat, but it was very cramped at places. Even my shoes were little teared, but I don't care. When Aunt told me that she can't let Ice God take Jia's life and I had to go in her place, I was very hurt. I knew they hated me, but this much? But then I thought that it would be better if I just go away. Then I wouldn't had to suffer every day. I came to the place where Jia came yesterday and started praying to call Ice God. Suddenly I felt very strong wind blow and then I saw a handsome man in front of me. Jungkook POV. I came to the place from where I heard chants. I saw a beautiful girl there. Jungkook, who are you? Why did you call me? I spoke, but surprisingly my voice was calm, not cold tone. She looked up at me. You. I Scott, I am Y/N. I came here in the place of my sister Jia. Jungkook frowned and spoke. What sister are you talking about? You, the girl who came yesterday, Jungkook. Oh, she was your sister. His tone became cold at the mention of Jia. You nodded your head in yes at his words. Jungkook thought, as I thought, all humans are just greedy. I just wanted to scare her, but she actually sent her sister as sacrifice. I can't believe it. But why did this girl agree for this? Jungkook, you know what will happen now. Y/N, yes, I know. You spoke as you were little scared. Jungkook understood. Jungkook, I will give you a task. If you can complete it, then I will show mercy on you. You looked up at him and asked, what task? Jungkook, you have to sew 300 fur coats till the sun sets. If you can, then I will show mercy. You, okay. Jungkook, become shocked. Can you really do it? You, I can try. Jungkook hummed and nodded. Then he clapped, and all the materials for making fur coat came in front of you. Jungkook, here is all the material you needed. Then he left. You started working. You were working from past few hours, and you had only made 50 fur coats. Your shoulders had already started paining you. This it's already afternoon and I had only made 50 fur coats. If this keeps on going like this, how will I complete the work on time? You sighed and again started walking. Then suddenly you saw an old lady passing from there. She was carrying wood logs on her back. You looked at her with pity. You, oh poor lady, working even at old age. I should help her. You went to the old lady and spoke. You, Ajuma, let me help you. Old lady, oh no, I can manage. You, no, they must be heavy. Let me help you. Then you take the wood logs from that old lady. You now. Y slash n. Where is your house, Ajuma? Old lady, there at the back of this valley. It's quite far. Y slash n. Okay, let's go. Then you both started walking to old lady's house. Old lady, what are you doing here in the middle of this forest? Y slash n. Oh, actually. Then you narrated the whole incident to her. She looked at you with pity eyes. Old lady, oh my, you poor girl. Your uncle and aunt are sure heartless, but don't worry, I know you deserve all the happiness in this world. You smiled and continued to old lady's home. After some time, you reached there. The old lady thanked you. Old lady, thank you so much, dear, and I am sorry I wasted your time in coming here, and now you also had to go back. Y slash n. It's okay. You were going, but old lady caught your wrist. You looked at her confused. Y slash n. What happened? Old lady, you helped me, so now it's obvious that I will help you back. Just wait a minute. Then the old lady went inside the home. You become confused. The old lady came out with few more ladies. Old lady, we will help you in completing the task given by the ice god. You became shocked and looked at them. They all nodded and you bowed to them as thanks. Then you and those old ladies came back to the place and you all started making fur coats. More 2 hours passes and now after 3 hours it will be evening. But till now only 200 coats are prepared. There are still 100 coats left. Since the old ladies can't work as fast as you can, so your work is going slow. But you are happy as you had someone to accompany, and also if you will be doing it alone, you at most will only be able to prepare 100 coats by now. As everyone was immersed in their own work, suddenly you saw a group of men passing from there. They were around 20 and all were shivering due to cold because they are not wearing any warm clothes. You felt pity for them. Those men were looking at the fur coats you prepared, so you decided to give them 20 coats from the ones you prepared. Y slash n, sir, you all can take one fur coat from here as you all are shivering. Man, really? You nodded and head in yes. The old ladies gave you a confused look. Old lady, if you give them fur coats, then what will you give to ice god? We have very less time and still we had to make 100 fur coats. You, I know, but they all are shivering so bad. Please give them each one fur coat. You showed your puppy eyes to her and she nodded her head sideways and agreed with a sigh. You gave each person one fur coat. Then those people asked you why you are making so many fur coats. So you narrated them the whole story. Those men also decided to help you. After few hours, the sun sets. It means the time is over. You happily looked at the pile of 300 fur coats that you made with the help of those old ladies and men. You thanked them all. After a few minutes, you felt strong icy wind blowing and you know that he is here. Within seconds, Jungkook appeared in front of you. Jungkook, did you completed the task? Y slash n, yes, you replied happily. Jungkook's eyes fell on pile of 300 fur coats. Jungkook, did you completed all them by yourself? Y slash n, no, they helped me. You pointed in your bag and Jungkook raised an eyebrow and gave an who expression. You turned around but didn't saw anyone. You turned your face to look at Jungkook. Jungkook, who are you talking about? You, I God, I am not lying. There were people here just now. They disappeared. Jungkook, are you talking about them? Suddenly few people come from behind the Jungkook. You looked at them. Y slash n. Yes, yes, yes. These men and women helped me. But when they went there, Jungkook chuckled. They all are my ice guards. Yuna shocked. What? These people change their appearances from old ladies to beautiful young females and men turned into well-built ones. Your jaw dropped. Y slash and they, Jungkook, don't get so much shocked. Y slash and they all are my people whom I sent to test you. Y slash and what? But why? You ask confusingly. Jungkook, because wife of Ice God can't be someone who is greedy or cruel. Y slash and what wife? Jungkook chuckled. I guess you don't know the whole truth behind that chant. You looked at them more confusingly. Seeing your confused expression, Minister Kim came forward. Taeyang, let me explain, my lady. So the chant that your aunt you was a chant that was prayed by humans when they wanted to marry Ice God. This is the reason only people who are not married are allowed to pray this chant. Mr. Kang's father took that chant from our former king by hook and crook, but he didn't know the whole truth. He thought that this chant is only meant to call Ice God, but this chant is used to pursue Ice God for marriage. Now, since you had completed the task given by Ice God, you are eligible to marry Ice God, my lady. You felt completely confused. It was too much to take in a single go. You came out from your world of thinking when Jungkook spoke. Jungkook took a step close to you and held your hand gently. So, will you marry me and become my wife? You, but I am an orphan and I am a human, not God. Jungkook, it doesn't matter. I need time to think. Jungkook, okay, give me your answer tomorrow. Then Jungkook and all his soldiers and ministers disappeared in the icy winds. You went back to the village. Skip 5 years. What happened after Princess left mom? Did she met Prince again? You smiled. Yes, Jihuna. Princess met Prince again and they lived happily ever after. Jihun, wow. Prince and Princess got married. You chuckled. Yes, Jihuna, I want to meet. But before Jihun can complete, he heard a voice calling him. Jungkook, what my little champ is doing? Jihun, Appa, he get down from your lap and hugged his father. Jungkook picked up his 3 years old boy in his arms. You looked at your world smiling. Then they both came to you. Jungkook, what do you do whole day? Jihun, Mama told me story of Ice Prince. Jungkook looked at you and then smiled. Jungkook, okay, now go and play. Jihun, okay, Appa. He quickly pecked your and Jungkook's cheek and ran from there. Jungkook sat beside you. Jungkook, you told him our story, didn't you? You nodded head. Yes. You entangled your hand with his. You. Thank you so much for coming to me. Jungkook, thanks to you for calling me. You both smiled to each other and joined foreheads together.